Resident Evil 8? More like Resident Evil Great. Bloody hell, look at that! I almost said the video title! I think this may be my favorite game in the series. Resident Evil 4 being a very close second, and 7 being my third favorite.
Welcome to the family, son.
A lot of this can boil down to bias. Resident Evil 4 was the first one I ever played, and 7 was the first one in the series that I ever finished. They both mean quite a lot to me, and 8 is literally just a combination of them, and I love it. It keeps the first person perspective of 7, whilst giving us the action of 4. It's bloody stupendous, let me tell you. In Resident Evil Village, you play as a bloke named Ethan Winters, the same protagonist from 7. He lives with his wife Mia and his daughter Rose. Suddenly though, his daughter is stolen and his wife is murdered by none other than Chris Redfield. You then get knocked out and wake up face first in the snow, not having any idea of where you are or where your daughter is. Instantly you are hit with intrigue as to what the fuck is going on.
Where the hell am I?
Village mixes in the opening from both Resident Evil 7 and 4. It starts out with a slow build-up as the player makes their way to the place they need to be, just like in 7. Sadly though, just like in 7, it kinda drags a bit on repeat playthroughs. I'm sick of carrying fucking Rose up the stairs and inspecting this one cupboard. There's a rat in there, I get it, game. Oh, fuck's sake. Then it pulls a full 180 and you're holding out against a bunch of monsters in a village, similar to the iconic opening in Resident Evil 4. Just like in 4, when you're on the brink of death, a bell rings making them all run off. Well, first of all, you get impaled with an arrow in the leg. All this cutscene is missing is the iconic line.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
There's even a big ass dude who appears halfway through. Thankfully though, he isn't wielding a chainsaw. The combat in this game is great. It's so smooth and fast paced. I think this may even have lore reasoning too, as Ethan had military training after the events of Resident Evil 7.
Military training, it all happened so fast, you know?
Well, at least we're all together.
That and PTSD. Speaking of Ethan though, I love this man. All I hear are complaints about the poor guy, but I don't understand the hate. He just comes out with the dumbest fucking shit at random times in this game, and it's just hilarious.
Caught myself a big one.
The man can also take a beating, especially his hands. Those poor fucking hands go through so much shit during the start. His hands are the real MVPs having a bad day. The man is literally willing to just go feet first into hell just for his daughter, and you gotta respect him for that. Personally, I'd bail after seeing the doll. I fucking hate those things. Speaking of, there are 4 main antagonists in the game. Each one represents a different fear. Like I said earlier, 1, you've got dolls.
Fucking monster.
2, the ocean. 3, tall women. And 4, hobos.
Shut your fucking hole! Sorry about that.
The main objective of the game is to kill each of the lords. They are all segregated into 4 different areas, with the village being in the center of them all. You always return to this village. I mean, it's clearly important, it's literally in the title. I love this place so much. Each time you return, a new area in the village opens up and things change around a bit. New enemies start appearing in previously safe locations too. There's even one point where a mini-boss appears. You are rewarded for exploring and backtracking around the village, and it's always satisfying finding some treasure or even a weapon. Speaking of the weapons, similar to Resident Evil 4, this game has a merchant.
Got a lot of good things on sale, stranger. What you got? Things.
He's called the Duke and he is bloody brilliant, let me tell you. It actually makes sense for him to randomly appear around areas too, because there is a note somewhere about him having meetings with some of the lords to sell shit in certain areas, and I find that so fucking funny. Okay, so I've tried my best to refrain from spoiling too much, but I'm gonna be talking about my favorite area in the game, so there will be minor spoilers ahead. If you haven't played the game already, please play it and experience this for yourself. But before you go, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Yeah. So, I'm gonna talk about my favorite area in the game. And that area is Heisenberg's factory. Haha! You thought I was gonna talk about the Horny Castle, right? Nah, I'm not that much of a degenerate. It is an incredible area though, don't get me wrong. I just prefer the factory. Not just because I love Heisenberg as a character, but because I feel like this area is not talked about enough, especially compared to the castle. So, to begin with, you are thrown into the area by Heisenberg himself after disagreeing to team up with him. I wish Ethan did team up with him, but hey, the man doesn't have a head, for fuck's sake. He thinks with his hands. So yeah, the man has brain damage. You are then chased by one of Heisenberg's abominations through linear corridors, and you escape through a slide which genuinely looks like a lot of fun, minus the drop at the end. You then progress a bit through the factory and are greeted with this incredible sight of the immense scale of the place you're in. It makes the factory above feel like a shed in comparison. You see in the distance what looks like human bodies on conveyors. Of course you don't think much of it, but what's actually on there is fairly sinister, and it's one of the reasons why I adore this place. You explore the dank, dirty factory, clueless as to where you're fully going, because the place feels like a maze. You do a few combat encounters, each one taking place in tight, well-designed areas that make you think on your feet. You then come to this room. You see this humanoid-looking monster sat on this chair, slumped over. You walk past it, getting a better look at it. It definitely looks human, but it has a drill attached to its arm, and it's covered in scars and mechanical parts. Once you're fully past it, you pick up the item you need to progress, but whilst walking back out past the monster, it suddenly springs to life and attacks. Holy shit, these things are intimidating. They have glowing weak spots that you need to hit, but unlike most enemies in games, they actually attempt to cover it up, which makes them even more threatening. This isn't the only time you encounter these fellas. Not too long after the first one, you go to turn the power on, and whilst you're walking along a row with them, one just detaches itself from the wall and turns and just glares at you. I can imagine Ethan just staring back at it like, shit. These monsters are Heisenberg's creations. His soldiers, to be specific. They are basically just corpses that he experimented on so he could create an entire army. He made different variants of them too, and the further you get into the factory, the more of them you see. My favorite being the final variant. They are these metallic monsters that slowly walk towards you. The way you're introduced to them too is so subtle. You just hear thumping sounds and it emerges from the shadows, ominously walking towards you. When I first saw this thing, I thought it was like the Tyrant in Resident Evil 2. I strategically flashed it and just ran past it. Turns out you can kill it with explosives, but hey, I mean, you learn something new every day. I genuinely don't want to spoil anymore. I think it's such a good area. If you have stuck around for this long without playing the game first, well, I hope this video has convinced you to at least pick it up. Resident Evil fan or not, I feel like you won't regret it.